I was babysitting a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old one night. Before bed, we were playing with a toy piano, and I taught the 5-year-old to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. Later, I was reading them bedtime stories on the top bunk of their bunk beds. While I was reading, we heard the toy piano playing Mary Had a Little Lamb. The boys both looked at me and asked who was playing with the piano. I didn't know what to say. I stayed in that top bunk, reading books until I heard their parents come home. To this day, I wonder who was playing on the piano. That house was either haunted or someone was in there with us. Number 2. When my mom was in her 20s, she and a friend decided to go to a psychic, just for fun. The psychic told her friend that soon she would have more money than she ever imagined, but it would cost her everything. A month later, she nearly died in a gas explosion at her apartment. She was burned on more than 70% of her body and received millions of dollars from the city because they knew about the gas leak and didn't bother to fix it. Number 3. A couple of decades ago, I was working upstairs in my home office when I heard the front door open downstairs, and my older brother, who lived 4 hours away, and whom I was not expecting, announced his arrival with a hello, in a manner that was distinctive to him. I was surprised but pleased he was visiting, and I yelled to him that I would be down in a couple of seconds after I saved my work on the computer. I went downstairs to greet him, but he was nowhere to be found. I figured he'd slipped outside to get something from his car, but there was no car and no brother. Number 4. My family had moved to my grandma's friend's house while our current house was being built. It was an old house. My sister and I had a room with one bed, so we shared it that night. My parents' room was on the other side of the wall, and our beds were both against the same wall. Anyway, the next morning, my sister and I were awakened by knocking on the wall from the other side. We started knocking back, giggling, thinking it was our parents. When we got up to say good morning, my parents weren't there. I texted them to ask where they were, and they were in the next town over at the grocery store. Number 5. I am a building contractor. I bought a lot with a small house and 2 other small ramshackle buildings on it. I had to tear all 3 buildings down in order to build a new house. I was smashing the house down with my bulldozer, and my assistant was loading the debris into a dumpster, when in my peripheral vision, I saw an old lady in a granny dress and bonnet with a stick in her hand, yelling, "What are you doing to my house?" I stopped, turned off the dozer, and went around to tell the woman not to come behind me like that, as I could have run her over. But there was no one there. I told the next-door neighbor about it, and he said that an elderly woman with that description used to live there, but she died about 10 years previously.